There's a really interesting study conducted by researchers at a French university and published in the Archives of Sexual Behaviour, which found that men were more likely to help out women when they wore heels. And the bigger the heels, the better, the more the men help them. So here's how it worked. Quote, the study employed 19-year-old female volunteers who were tasked with either asking men to help them pick up a dropped glove, answer a survey question, or just stand around a bar and wait to be asked out, all while wearing heels that were either 0.2 inches, 2 inches, or 3.5 inches. It turns out women in heels who dropped a glove were 50% more likely to have a man return it, while well-heeled women in bars got asked out in half the time that those in flats did. The heel difference may be the clearest in the survey test where participants asked men, "Excuse me, sir, we are currently conducting a survey on gender equality. Would you agree to answer our questionnaire?" Men said yes less than half the time to women in flats, while those in medium heels had a 63% success rate, and those in the highest heels got answers 83% of the time. So here's what the lead researcher said, quote, women's shoe heel size exerts a powerful effect on men's behavior. Simply put, they make women more beautiful. Now, here's a twist in the story that, as I went through this article, as I went through this research, I was reminded of a story that we covered on the show, which explained that high heels were not always feminine. Like, we look at them and we think of them as a purely feminine thing. If there's a guy wearing legit high heels, you go, oh, post-op, pre-op, what's going on here? You don't think of it as a masculine thing to do, and today it's specifically not. But it used to be the reverse. Quote, Persian soldiers wore high-heeled shoes in the name of necessity when riding horseback, since shooting an arrow from a saddle was easier with a heel to secure the foot in its strap. As the European elite became fascinated with the unfamiliar culture, men adopted horsemen's masculine footwear for their own totally impractical use around the year 1600. After the lower class began sporting heeled footwear, the leisure class responded as only they could by making the heel higher. So there was a time when it was only men, upper-class men, walking around with long, high heels. But then women started adopting the style as well, and men's shoe heels became stockier and shorter, while women's became thinner and higher. So there was a time when Europeans were copying Persian soldiers. The Persians had a reason to wear the heels, again, to strap themselves in as they shot arrows off horses. But the Europeans were like, oh, that's fashionable. I got to wear one. So European elite men were wearing high heels, and they thought, oh, I'm so masculine with my high heels. And then after a while, it switched and that became feminine. But we think of it as purely feminine. So it shows you that, at least in this respect, gender roles are kind of bullshit. How it's super arbitrary that we have women that wear heels now and not men wearing heels now, which makes it really interesting, the study really interesting. Because the study is saying that men basically look at high heels on women as if we have some sort of like biological innate attraction to people in high heels, to women in high heels, where we just see women in high heels and we're like, oh my God, I'm just drooling on myself and like I'm so horny now and she's so hot, I'll do whatever she wants. It's strange, man. If it's not, you know what this shows you? I think it shows you that, yes, the appreciation that men have of high heels on women, it's not in our nature, because again, in the past, men wore high heels. Back then, if you did the test, the results wouldn't have been this, right? But it shows that the power of culture is overwhelming in cases where we could think that something is biological or in our nature, but it's really cultural conditioning, and the conditioning is so strong that we essentially can't break free of it. And I thought myself, how would I respond in this situation? I'd like to think that I would be, equally kind to the woman without high heels and the women with high heels. But in all seriousness, I don't know. Because I do know that I think high heels are really fucking hot on a woman. So if I see them, I don't know. Does my monkey brain take over? And I'm just like, me want to mate. Me like to reproduct. Hey, can I talk to you? Ooh, nice heels. Maybe that I don't know. Maybe that does happen. I like to think I'm a better guy than that, and I can essentially override my primitive brain, but there's a chance I would answer the woman in high heels more and not even realize that the high heels are the reason why I am answering the woman more. So, and just to close this out real quick and finish up this story, I want to give you some other gender role facts that we discussed in the past, but I think these are interesting because it shows you that gender roles are largely bullshit. It's true that men have more testosterone than women, women have more estrogen than men, our frames are bigger, we weigh more on average, we have more muscle fiber on average. There are biological differences for sure, but a lot of the stuff that we might think is innate, it's not. It's really culturally based, and we just think it's the norm now, and we think it's nature when it's really nurture. So, examples. Did you know that pink used to be the boy color and blue used to be the girl color? That's crazy, right? See, to me, maybe I'm the only one, but I always thought that there was something, like there's some sort of natural explanation for that, how pink represents a color that exacerbates femininity and a certain look, and that's why women are naturally, pink is their color, and boys, blue is naturally their color. Wrong. Totally wrong. It's totally arbitrary. Somebody decided, okay, pink is the woman's, blue is the boys, that's it. That's the end of the conversation. Used to be the reverse. Another one is secretaries and school teachers used to all be men. Another one is lace used to be manly. The men wore lace. It was upper-class men, again, European society, they wore lace. Today, my mind is blown, because today, if I see a woman in lace, I lose it in my pants. But there was a time when women didn't wear it at all, and it was only men that wore it, and that was the norm. Crazy. Another one is cheerleading used to be only boys. Ask Rick Perry and George Bush about that, they'll tell you. And crying used to be seen as masculine and sincere. Now that's kind of changed a little bit. There you have it. A lot of the stuff about gender roles is bullshit, and men lose their shit when they see a woman in high heels. There's science for you.